Hey, what's happening in the world? It's February 16th, and here are the headlines you might have missed last week in no particular order. A new study finds entire spoonful of microplastics in people's brains and 3 times as much in those with dementia. Around 95% of countries have missed a UN deadline to submit new climate pledges for 2035, Carbon Brief analysis shows. Countries missing the deadline represent 83% of global emissions and nearly 80% of the world's economy. In fact, it threatens EU's survival. A new German security report warns that warming will exacerbate conflicts, hunger, and migration worldwide. Oh, but it's fear-mongering, huh? Inflation rose 3% and egg prices rose 15% in January this year. Dollar Tree customers are also struggling. Credit card debt has never been higher, with seniors holding a large chunk of that. Car payment delinquencies are at an all-time high. McDonald's customers can't even afford a Big Mac. Consumers are pulling back because sentiment is low. Oops, I mean make America great? Right. Ray Dalio says the U.S. faces a debt spiral. Weren't we there already? World sea ice falls to record low. Over the 5 days to 13th of February, the combined extent of Arctic and Antarctic sea ice was 15.76 million square kilometers. This breaks the previous 5-day record low from January to February last year. 2023. Also, brake pad dust can be more toxic than exhaust emissions, study finds. The research shows that even with a move to electric vehicles, pollution from cars may not be able to be eradicated. The study found that these non-exhaust pollution sources are now responsible for the majority of vehicle particulate matter emissions in the United Kingdom and parts of Europe. The entirety of Sri Lanka is facing a power outage, all because of one monkey. The primate intruded the Sri Lankan electrical grid substation and ended up causing an island-wide blackout. Great, bro. Wyoming will build its own monument similar in size to Mount Rushmore. Trump says he's directed the U.S. Treasury to stop minting new pennies, citing rising costs, also impose new tariffs on steel and aluminum from Canada and Mexico. As many as 25,000 grebes killed by bird flu within the Great Salt Lake. Governor Pritzker says Lake Michigan is now called Lake Illinois. 3 Baltic states disconnect from Soviet-era grid and merge with the European energy system. Trump and Musk appear together in Oval Office to defend the work of Doge. Musk calls for U.S. to, quote, delete entire agencies from the federal government. And federal workers take a mass layoff. Of course, they didn't realize they fired the nuclear stockpile staff. Oops. Anyone keeping track of Dogecoin?
The launch configuration? T-minus 10, 9, 8.
Former CFPB director says Trump, quote, begging for another financial crisis by closing this agency. It was created in by Congress after the 2008 crisis and has limited credit card fees, made mortgage loans easier to understand, and returned billions of dollars to consumers. Measles outbreak expands in West Texas. Data indicates there could be hundreds of truck driving serial killers at large. Dozens injured in a Munich car ramming as a city prepares for high-stakes security conference. At least 5 dead in a Taiwan mall blast. Colorado's forests store a massive amount of carbon, but dying trees, mostly due to insects and disease, have caused the state's forests to emit more carbon than they absorb in recent years. Just another self-reinforcing feedback loop. Not effing good. Massive methane leaks detected in Antarctica, posing potential risks for global warming. Wildfires raged in Chile. After Patagonia, Argentina's northern prairies consumed by fires. The whole world is on fire. Rain and mudslides in California. And 2 new studies suggest the Paris climate goal is dead. One scientist going even further. Quote, if the world experiences 18 consecutive months at or above the 1.5 degree limit, it will be virtually certain that the agreement has been breached, the report found. But we know that we're over it. 2C by 2030. And last but not least, the war in Ukraine rages on, and there will be no safe haven for those fleeing the Gaza-Palestinian conflict in Egypt, of all places. I hope you enjoyed today's What's Happening in the World update. Hit the like, subscribe, and donation link below so that I can continue making this content for all of you to enjoy. I'll catch up with you guys and gals next week. Take care.